pension 10, 15 years ago won't buy much of anything here today.
And why the millennial generation is starting to give up because they can't afford to get a good job or own a house.
8 million Venezuelans voting for this assembly, saying it's actually less than 3.
It is. And people are going to start rioting in the streets.
Was reported to have asked Putin for military support that would help him stay in power.
We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
And they ignore him. And 8 more years goes by till Bernie himself finally admits to his sons, hey, I've been running a Ponzi scheme.
Does its dominance mean it can use the alliance for its own ends?
Since 1981, bond yields, also known as coupon rates, have just gone down and down and down.
Federal Reserve note will be your biggest financial liability.
RTD Live Talk, Sunday night, 24th day of the month of February, and I thought I would get online and do a little bit of back and forth this evening. Lots been happening, and so as you guys can tell from this title, what's happening in Venezuela. And so if you guys have not had a chance over at the Rethinking the Dollar /blog, I've been posting a lot of articles as well as just videos and whatnot about what's happening in Venezuela, particularly in regards to the whole aid reaching the border between Colombia and Venezuela. But yet it looks like from pictures I've seen, as well as a variety of alternative media, as well as Venezuelan and Colombian media sources, the aid was set on fire on the Colombian side. But the question is, who would actually set on fire a truck loaded with humanitarian aid, supposedly? So it's a lot of questions up in the air as to what was actually in those boxes, if there was food there, or was that some type of media ploy just to show and create chaos down there. So who knows, unless you're on the border directly. But yet there's the things I want to talk about this evening. And so with that being the case, as always, it's going to be short this evening. Just wanted to get on and find out your guys' thought, as well as to find out any other media sources and news I may not be aware of. So as always, my name is Mike, the host of RTD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. And we're talking on Venezuela. Exactly. What's up with that countdown, man? It's funny. But anyway, as always, feel free to call in and let me know, let your voice be heard. More importantly, in the chat, make sure you guys check in. Let me know what your thoughts are on this whole situation in Venezuela. And so there's a variety of video and whatnot that's up and running. And so before I get any further, let me acknowledge a couple people here in the chat. And so as I mentioned, going to be short this evening, but just wanted to share some thoughts of how I believe this week will be crucial for President Trump, as well as all those that are pushing for a regime change, as they would say, down in Venezuela. And it looks like the change may be forced upon Maduro, not necessarily directly by U.S. intervention as far as boots on the ground, but it looks like we referring to the United States government, has really pressured Colombia and Brazil to also speed up that narrative of the need to get humanitarian aid there. And it's showing in the fact that Maduro decided to close the borders between Brazil and Colombia, which basically means he's boxed in. He has enemies up north, referring to us, and he has enemies to his southeast as well as his west. So, you know, I think this week coming up is going to be a crucial week for Maduro there. And so let me see here. We got Lana Frank, Shane, Spirit, She Hate Me, new subscribers. She Hate Me. Welcome to the community, my friend. As always, the goal is open forum, give you guys a chance to share what's on your mind. And so typically we talk about a variety of subjects, but tonight I wanted to really focus on Venezuela because I think that it's a pretty important story, because it's showing how desperate the United States of American government is to really try to deploy democracy, or as they always say, to a nation that has issues, no doubt, but then it boils down to what gives us the right, as far as the United States government, the right to go in there and to force change, especially in our own interest. It's not necessarily in the best interest of the Venezuelan people, in my opinion. So, but yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts. It says, Almost Christian, how you doing? It says, all the chaos happened on the Colombian side. I tend to believe it's a CIA false flag. Almost Christian, I do agree with that. And of course, as I mentioned, I came across a lot of different media sources that let me know that I even saw an article. Let me actually see if I can pull it up. it was quite disturbing because it was about a lot of ammunition and military weaponry found in a plane that was bound to come into the country. So the question was, where did it come from? And the media source and the Venezuelan army, I guess, confiscated all that stuff. And it looked like it all pointed back to, as they said in the articles, the CIA and things of that nature. So if I can find it, I'll pull it up. What else we got going on? Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, I did find it. Let me see if I can pop it up. So there's a project down in Venezuela right now. It looks like, I'm not sure if he's an American journalist or whatnot, but I shared that video on the rethinkingthedollar.com/blog, of which it was quite interesting, I must admit. And so here we have this article here that I want to show you guys briefly. And this is on the grayzoneproject.com, but it says a visit to mysterious U.S. Air firm accused of arming white ring insurgency in Venezuela. And so if you thumb through this, it shows a nice assortment of military-grade weaponry that was attempted to be smuggled into the country, supposedly, according to this article here. Let me get my measurements together. And so, once again, it's one of the things where, you know, this particular source here happens to be in Venezuela, so take it for what it's worth. But you see a table full of military aid, military weaponry, and you see a Venezuelan flag. You know, could it be Maduro trying to plot and plant some stuff and blame it on somebody? You know, who knows? But I would imagine, as always, just take the first story with that one in particular, because they're trying to remove Maduro. So I'd imagine that it was some weaponry that was trying to be snuck into the country that ended up not meeting its destination. So just my 2 cents there. But anyway, what's going on in the chat? Let me find out what's going on. Let me find more of your what you guys' opinions are. It says Team America World Police. What is it, 47? Yeah. World Police, even when we're not wanted or needed. I mean, it's touchy, man. And as I mentioned before, isn't the U.S. Army still in Iraq? Yeah, I don't doubt that we still have military presence in Iraq and everywhere else surrounding. Seems like Venezuela hasn't been able to recover from the loss of Chavez, Marquise, and that's a good point, man, because they're really big on Chavismo, and so it's just amazing how they position Chavez as the savior of their country. And over the last decade, their country has been going through several and various types of problems, all due to the economy and everything being nationalized and the currencies not being worth a nickel. But yet they still love that, whatever they've been indoctrinated with down there, that school of thought. I guess it lives on, rather. And so every speech, and speaking of which, every speech that Maduro gives, as I've watched, he tend to mention, long live Chavez, and let's keep Chavez's legacy alive, and all types of things. So as you guys can see around me here, I grabbed a couple videos of just a variety of things that happened throughout the last couple days in Venezuela. Everything from the one above my head, where they're on the border between Colombia and, you know, we have these people above my head right now as I'm speaking. You know, like whenever I see people that's covered up, faces covered up, out in the streets tearing up stuff, I automatically think that they are probably, they're incentivized somehow, some way, either to loot and to steal, or they're probably being compensated by some type of organization that is intended to cause all these problems. So these people, you know, if aid is really trying to come across the border, and I don't know if this is the Venezuelan side or the Colombian side above my head, but I would imagine if you are starving and hungry, as the mainstream media will have us believe that a good portion of the people are, I wouldn't be blocking the roads. I would be trying to go on the other side of that bridge to get some of that aid if I really needed it. But if I'm over here burning trucks and stuff like that, vandalizing, stealing, and all types of stuff, yeah, it just paints the Venezuelan people, or whoever that particular person is. They may not be Venezuelan, you know, they might be Colombian, or, as I mentioned before, from some other place just brought down to cause problems. So this is where this stuff gets really, really, really ugly and tricky at that, because it's hard to paint a picture as to what's going on, other than the fact that I believe that the American intentions are not good, of course. But anyway, I'm doing too much ranting. As always, if you guys have a question or any thoughts, feel free to chime in the chat. I'll try to get to the chat. Chat is over here right now. And other than that, I thought I would put these videos up here, just give you guys a different spin for those that may have not had a chance to pay attention to some of the stories out there. And what else we got here? It says, Spirit King, that wasn't your question. It says, what do you think of Rubio's tweet? Is it a Christian or an almost Christian? Is it Christian or almost Christian? Almost Christian. I am not familiar with Rubio's tweet that you're referring to. If you don't mind, if you can go find that tweet and share it in the chat, I would love to pull it up because I'm not sure which one you're referring to, but I definitely don't want to comment on something I'm not aware of. So feel free to share it with us. I would love to comment on it. What else we got here? It says that the capitalists, Chinese are coming home. The petrodollar. All right, so we do have a tweet, so I will pull that up so I can find out what's going on there. Give me 1 second. Let me make some adjustments on my end. All right, let me pull this tweet up here. It says show. I'll pull it up. I don't like when that thing makes a lot of noise. Let me pull this tweet up. Let me open it up on the big screen and see what's going on here. So I'm curious to find out exactly what this tweet is all about. And so let me pull up on the. All right, so let me see what we have here. This is a tweet. Can't really see much, but I can. Oops. Let me go back. Let me go back. Let me find the tweet again. All right, let's see what this thing says from Marco Rubio. It's scroll down. So the media may contain, says to be view. Oh, okay. Ooh, okay. I wasn't expecting that. So if this is a tweet that you're referring to, so here we have Gaddafi, the before and the unfortunate after or during the process of his last days. Now, just to share my thoughts off of this picture, if this is which I believe it is, if this is a true official Twitter account of Marco Rubio, I'm not quite sure why and what he will be posting this for, given this graphic nature and how everything went down, and the fact that most Americans or those in the alternative media space do not really believe or trust that the events that took place in Libya was actually because of I forgot whatever was going in there for. Was it weapons of mass destruction there or whatever we went in there for? It ended up not being good for him as well as the Libyan people. So my thoughts and opinion on this picture here from this particular Twitter account is that it's wrong, especially a political figure, because it's basically saying good times to death is what I read when I see that. And so what does that refer to? I would assume that's referring to Maduro. And if that is, then that's just not the type of representation I personally would want someone claiming to be a representative of my government. But it's one of the things where clearly Marco Rubio, in my opinion, is a bought and paid for guy. So, you know, he's doing what he believes is in the best interest of his employers, whoever that might be. So that's just my 2 cents. So I'm going to leave that alone. So let me know your thoughts on that one. I could be completely off. But in reference to it being a Christian type of thing, assuming we're referring to his faith there, I can never question a man's heart or devotion to the Lord, but based upon the fruit and the actions, I don't think that's a very great representation of a man who says they believe in the good Lord above. But once again, every man for himself. That's just my thoughts, but I personally wouldn't put anything like that out there on social media because it just puts a bad image out there. So I think it's wrong for the U.S. to get involved in Venezuela because the U.S. will make it even worse than it is already. S. Douglas, I agree 100%. And so based upon experience, based upon everywhere we've gone before, we've never left the place tidy. And we've never left a country. Hell, we actually haven't left many countries. We still have presence there in most of the countries. But we've never gone in and and got out on good terms where we left some productive economy and capital and a nice society. We've always left, unfortunately, death and destruction. And so that's a bad mark to have, but that's what it appears like we are or have been known for. It says Venezuela need to learn Mandarin. Need to learn Mandarin. I would imagine that there's a pretty strong population of pretty strong Asian population there. And I've seen a lot of videos from Venezuelan and Latin American news sources that mention how there's some Asian business in the country there. It's not as dominant as most of the other nationalities, but they are there and they're helping do business and whatnot. But it looks like we might have a call, or we did have a call. Feel free to call back and I'll get you on here. And so let me keep going. It says, Marquis says, Chavez and Gaddafi were real close. That I don't doubt. But my thing would be, what is a U.S. political figure putting stuff like that on their Twitter account? That's what troubles me. But once again, I'm not surprised. It's just not a very good, worthy thing to see on there. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Tim, Colorado.
Tim from Colorado. How you doing, my friend?
Good, buddy. Hey, we're just trying to spread democracy.
Yeah, that's what we're telling everybody. But yet, you and I know, and the rest of the world don't believe that anymore. It's hard to keep spreading our narrative when we leave nothing but destruction behind, and lots of lives lost.
Hey, our non-governmental organizations are going to come help out.
Yeah, help do what is the question. Help do what? Is it in the best interest of the people? Would a Venezuelan people actually have a more stable economy after all is said and done, or worse? Will be the question. And I believe it's going to be a lot worse.
Oh, don't worry. When we leave, we'll have all their resources.
Oh, yeah. Or we won't have all the resources because they're still in the ground, but we'll have people in position that would allow us access whenever we want to extract at our own leisure and time. So we're going to put, a bought and paid for a gentleman in presidency, which is already down there. But yeah, just for in our best interest, of course. That's how it tends to work, from what I've gathered.
No, you're, as usual, Mike, you got a bullseye.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the tell, my friend. Have a good one, my friend.
You have a great night.
Yes,
we
sir.
love all your followers.
Appreciate you, brother. Have a good night. Good stuff, Tim. I appreciate you calling, my friend. And so we got Bob the Monk says, Venezuela is the next Syria, especially if they still have gold. Bob, I believe they have gold there. And just to confirm they do, if you would Google, Maduro allows Russia to... Maduro gives Putin or Russia mineral rights or something like that in reference to gold. There's some articles that came out a while ago that pointed at how, because Russia has invested so much money into Venezuela, there's a threat that if Maduro is removed and Guaido becomes the primary guy, that all those debts and bills that are owed to the Venezuela or the Russian and Chinese governments will not be repaid. So I believe that some of those mineral rights have already been sold off or leased off as far as mining is concerned in the southern region, I believe. So I saw some articles with that before. And so Wade Wellington, it says, off topic, Zimbabwe will release the RTGS. And so I think you mentioned that before, last week, and I looked into that. And from just scanning through that, it looks like those, that new dollar or something is going to be, I read something about it, them coming up with a new mechanism to tie the Forex exchange market to the bond note and the dollar or something like that. But because it's coming from the political figures in the government of Zimbabwe, it's bound to fail, because at this point, they're so far in the hole, there's nothing they can do within their own school of thought that can save their economy, just because, what can they do? Unless we return to something sound and more stable that can eliminate the need for governments to borrow at the expense of their future as well as their own population, there's absolutely nothing those political figures can do. So they can try all the gimmicks they want. It's not going to happen, in my opinion. But feel free to let me know if you think it might work. So shine some light on that for me. Definitely keep me up to date, Wade. I would love to find out more. It says, actually, both Russia and China do have aircraft carriers, but the digital have, what is that? But the democracies have had war recently. Not sure. Let me find out. We have a call here. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Wade. I'm calling from overseas.
Wade, how you doing from overseas? Now, so in reference to Zimbabwe, are you in that area or near that region?
Well, close to it.
Close to it. Okay.
I'm supposed to be talking to one of the bankers today at 10:30.
Okay, so yeah, because you are what? So you are what time? What time is it? What time is it there right now in your area?
Right now it's about 6:20 in the morning.
About 6:20 in the morning. Okay, so you said you're about to talk to one of the bankers there, and so give us some information as to what is going on with that RGBS and shine a little light on it for us. RTGS.
Okay, this is what I'm gathering. They have it's an electronic system.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying that they're bringing back the currency. Now, what I'm trying to figure out, will it be the 2008 numbers of the currency?
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm trying to do, also figure out, how they're going to put that in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was supposed to get that information. We talked yesterday, but he said he couldn't make it official. Couldn't talk officially because they were going to release it today.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to get the information, find out how's that going to work, because they already had a forex system in place. They did a pilot program and traded some on forex already on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
But they weren't supposed to do that until Monday, which was today.
Yeah. So watch
we're gonna find out about that today.
So with the currency that they are currently using now, how's that bond note situation going? Because just from gathering a little bit of information, it's borderline. Inflation is still an issue there because of the bond notes. So are they're getting away from even the bond notes and talking about a whole new currency?
Yeah, but this is my belief, but I'm gonna try to get it confirmed today.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to. I know they talk about backing that currency up with gold.
Backing their currency up with gold?
Yeah. Yes. It's just so trying to figure out if that's going to happen. If they're going to do that, then we have a whole different ball game.
Yeah. Whew, yeah, that would be different. I mean, it could be beneficial if it was allowed to work. My only concern is that the powers that be won't allow that, because that will then put them in a more favorable position down the line if they are to anchor their currency to gold, or because they're naturally rich in resources there. So if they were to use some of those resources for their own currency there, that removes them from the debt-based paradigm model, which is not something that people tend to. It's not something that the U.S. will allow, or especially European areas that still have heavy influence in that area, I believe. But what do you think? You think it'll work?
Well, yeah, I think it's going to happen, because if you look at all of the GCC countries right now they're looking to pass and to implement all their currencies to be backed up by gold because they follow Sharia law.
Yeah.
Now, I know Iran has already passed all the legislation in that country.
Yeah.
Now, all they have to do now is clean up those last two issues of FATF.
Yeah.
Now, once that happens, and which is supposed to be coming up, so if that happens, they already saying that the currency is going to mimic the gold tokens that they're going to give out for the trade. So, and they say it's going to be 1-to-1.
So, hold that same thought there. Kwabena Mustafa, I want to give you a shout out for that super chat there. I appreciate that, my friend. I'm going to acknowledge that further in a second. And so as far as that 1-to-1, will it be paper-based or crypto-based, given the fact Iran is doing the crypto side? And so will all these nations look to utilize the crypto nature of gold just because it'll be more convenient and easy for them to actually have, an actual token or coin, as opposed to having to go through the whole paper model, because it's for their own, it's for the government's usage up front, not the people necessarily at this current moment. So you think they're going to be using a cryptocurrency, blockchain type tech?
Yes, they already said that. As a matter of fact, they have people already working on that to implement that. And what they're going to do, the paper currency will still be floating through through the economy, because they know some people don't want to deal with, the crypto stuff because they have their old ways until they get them off of that. And you can see UAE and Saudi Arabia thing. So they already make clients right now. So I see all GCC countries taking a turn.
Yeah.
Now I would tell everybody, if Saudi Arabia turns away from using the US dollar specifically for international trade, and they start taking currency in, I would say then you make ready to see that move.
Yeah, I agree, and it's interesting how just last week Saudi prince or the king or whatnot was in China itself, directly meeting. And so this is the second time, to my knowledge, that the Saudi Arabia have gone to China for discussions about whatever. So I've always remembered Jim Willie mentioning that the moment that Saudi Arabia makes a public announcement that they're accepting more than just dollars, then bye-bye to the petrodollar paradigm officially. So, but hey, wait, man, I want to get some more people on here, but keep me in the loop. And definitely tomorrow night I'll be on again. I have a guest, Mark Ward, joining us, talking about gold, or silver rather. So give me a call tomorrow night if you find out any information today. I would love to find out more about it.
Okay, no problem. You take care.
All right, my friend, you too. Yeah, man, good stuff as always. Good stuff. Yeah, so that's going to be interesting to see because, yeah, the fact that the Saudi Arabia was in China having meetings again, I mean, they're talking about something, and I'm sure it's not about how they're going to use more dollars. But I want to acknowledge that super chat. Corbina, I appreciate that, my friends. It says, the world is unifying their efforts towards America. They will go at it alone. America's losing friends in the West. 100%. I believe that completely. America's losing friends. We're isolating ourselves from, we're basically, because we're enforcing rule of law upon everybody, by us sanctioning everybody, it's basically speeding up the necessity for countries to diversify away from the dollar system, starting with the SWIFT system, as well as holding reserves in reference to our debt. So it's meant to scare people and keep people in line, but yet all that's doing is spurring the need for diversification. So it's one of the things where, in us seeing that, if other nations around us are deciding to get away from our debt, that means that holding solely our debt as an asset is going to be kind of sketchy in the days ahead. Really sketchy in the days ahead. It says Russia will launch from Venezuela. Ooh, don't say that. I don't want to hear that. That's not a good thing. It says Venezuela has already redistributed their gold, plus Bank of England refusing to return gold holdings. The only resource Venezuela can back any future currency with will be oil, example, the petro. Michael Ruiz, definitely. I still do believe that I've done articles before and even had a guest on who was in Venezuela. Can't think of his name now, but if you go through the RTD Live Talk archives, you'll see him. But he was saying how the southern portion of Venezuela is, the mountainous area is very rich in gold, to where they have the whole illegal gold panning down there and people losing lives and getting sick, and the cartels run that. So they have gold in the ground, which I would imagine, if they survey the land, would probably equal millions of ounces that could be brought out the ground relatively easy if they had some infrastructure and some funding down there. So I think they're not only sitting on oil itself, but in reference to the whole petro coin, we haven't heard anything about that, because according to people in the tech world, there's no code, there's no visible code for it, there's no white, there's nothing solid that gives the techie people reason to believe that it actually exists. Because where's the code at? Like, where can it be verified at? And how all the things that usually go into a cryptocurrency you would want people to believe is really there, then show us the money, basically. And a lot of people haven't seen that, so I haven't heard anything about the petro or the Oro de Oro, which is the gold savings plans there. Last year towards the end of the year, in the fall, Maduro was out telling people to, basically he was telling his own people, if you want to secure your financial future, he was saying get into gold. And I've done videos on that before, how he was telling people to get into gold, and they have an actual savings plan. And it's interesting, man, how he's telling his people to saving gold if you want to protect your future. Problem is that you couldn't get hold of that gold until you had to get a claim on it until like a year or two. So basically, you had to loan your, you had to get a piece of paper saying that you own a certain amount of gold in your possession, but you weren't able to use it. So that's very, very sketchy. And that plays into more of why it's important to have gold in your possession, because once again, when you have, you know, a government telling people in a country that's failing right now that they need gold, that makes it very easy for me to believe that I need gold as well. I need it as well. And I'm trying to pull up there's the Central Bank of Venezuela's website so I can see some of the latest out of the central bank there, as far as any tweets, or see if they're still promoting the gold savings plan that they're advertising. And so as I actually pull it up so you guys can see what I see. Let me see where I can. Man, I got so many pages up here. Here we go. So here's their Twitter page here, and just to see, if we go back in history, they got the Bolivar Soberano, which is their newest currency, which is, yeah. So here we have, as I mentioned, the last article or the last mention was in January 17th of their savings plan, which is the title of gold. So it says now you can save whatever gold and save in gold, Soberano. So yeah, they're still promoting the importance of having gold. So there's gold in the country. The question is, will the people actually get their hands on it? Yeah, but get back to the chat. Get back to the chat. What is going on out here? So as I mentioned, tonight's stream was going to be a little short, but yet wanted to get some opinions. It says, hey, RTD, off topic, but in the current state of a dollar reset, in your opinion, what would it be good idea to get things that revolve around insurance? Leo Master, get things revolve around insurance. So I'm assuming you're referring to insurance policies or whatnot. Let me know what exactly you mean by revolve around insurance, because if we were to have a dollar reset, or basically a default through hyperinflation, or some type of, just complete default outright with our debt, which will cause a dumping of our United States assets, or actually liabilities and treasuries and bonds and all stuff like that. Anyway, if the Federal Reserve note goes belly up, will insurance help you? First thought is insurance will not be of any good, because all insurance policies are denominated in Federal Reserve notes. So, for example, a $500,000 life insurance policy, whole or term, whatever it is you have, if it's $500,000, and if the purchasing power of a dollar goes well sub-zero, as far as it being hyperinflated away, that 500,000 is no longer 500,000. And that's just as simple as like in Zimbabwe. I've done reports on Zimbabwe when they went into hyperinflation mode, how pensions, retirement accounts, 15 years ago, prior to the Great Recession, they had basically, it was, I don't know what the actual ratio was, but it was nowhere near what the hyperinflationary rate of exchanging to a dollar was. So say it could have been $1 for, I think 20 years ago, it's probably like 5 Zimbabwe dollars on par. But yet when they went hyperinflationary, that 5 Zimbabwe dollar, all of a sudden they added 5 zeros to it within a week. So that was what, $50,000. So basically that $5 note, when they added 5 zeros because of hyperinflation, think about that $500,000 life insurance policy. They didn't adjust that to hyper. They didn't adjust that for inflation. So that policy was lost. So basically you went from needing, say, what is it? So 100,000, you needed 100,000 $5 Zimbabwe notes into hyperinflationary status, where when you add 5 zeros because of hyperinflation, that basically was what 5. So we got 50,000. So 50,000 times 5. So that's basically what? So 10. So 10. No, I'm sorry. What we got? 10. Yeah. So 10. No, 5. Anyway, 10 or 5. Okay, I'm losing my train of thought. 10 or 5 of those new hyperinflated notes would equate to the $500,000 insurance policy you had. So Yeah, I read reports on how people were pissed because they lost everything that they had saved up in those things that were denominated in their national currency because the currency was inflated away. So I don't think they adjust insurance policies for hyperinflation, but they definitely will adjust your mortgage for hyperinflation. What's your opinion on investing in the Swiss franc forex? Bold like a leopard. How you doing, my friend? I'm not familiar with that at all, so I'm not one to invest in it. So if you're not like a trader or someone who well educated and well versed in investing in the forex markets, I personally don't mess with it because I don't know anything about it. But if you do know something about it and you think it's going to be something that can preserve or hold some purchasing power down the line, knock yourself out, Bold. But I don't know it enough to even comment on it like that. So appreciate the question. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, my name is Esteban. I'm calling from Florida.
You said Esteban?
Yes, Esteban from Florida.
How you doing, Esteban? What's on your mind this evening, my friend?
I'm doing good, thank you. Well, I just wanted to make a comment on an article that you posted earlier.
Yes.
In terms of, I'm Venezuelan. I was born in Venezuela, but I've been living in the U.S. for the past 10 years.
Okay. Go ahead.
And when you mentioned how the real humanitarian aid on the communal markets, my whole family's over there, and you do mention that it's like a lie sold by media, and I'm here, at least from my standpoint and my family standpoint, it's not the case.
That's not
I have plenty of people that I know there, friends to school with me. Out of 120 kids that were in my school, graduated with me, I say more than 70% have had to leave the country because they can't live under the conditions there's there. They just shortage of food. The reason why you have this market, why it appears to be food for them, is because you have to have something called Carnet de la Patria, which is like a ID,
a food card
given to you by the government.
Yeah.
If you are a member of one of their party, if you're not signed to register for them, you don't get access to any of this food. So basically, you get food if you are in their side.
Right.
And that's the truth for all the people, my family and many people that I know that live there. So in terms of that article that you posted, I just wanted to let you know that from the standpoint of somebody that's getting day-to-day updates and information, that what help is given is as long as you're in their side. It won't be given to you if you have any allegations or association with opposition.
Yeah, now that's a good point there, because I actually saw it was a documentary on a family in the favelas there, and they were mentioning how their family has those cards where it's basically like you have to come out to rallies. You got to support Maduro and everything he does. They do checks on you to make sure you aren't in the opposition party. So you got to follow 3 or 4 steps to actually get that food subsidy per month, which I hear is not even worth the hassle, but it's better than nothing. So I appreciate you sharing that. And so I'd imagine the gentleman who did that article or that video, he was at a little kiosk for people with that card there, but he didn't mention that probably in order to get that access, you needed a card, because he was mentioning that the cost of it. So people still had to spend money there, according to that video there. So I don't know, if it was a card plus some money, or perhaps could have been, money only, or you think it was solely that card for that particular spot that gentleman was at?
The way it mainly works is that if you have the card, they give you like a basic need. Like they give you like a basic card, and then you can buy more food with whatever money you have available. That in most of the cases is given to you by the government anyway.
Interesting. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's fine. I appreciate your calling, my friend. Definitely. I want you to do me a favor. Email me. Go to rethinkingthedollar.com and email me there. I want to talk to you further, my friend, and just find out how things are going there. Because Venezuela, I went there a decade ago, and it's a great country, man. And I definitely want to be able to help out any way I can. So I'd love to find out what type of efforts are there for relief and activity to help people there directly. So shoot me an email if you don't mind. I'd love to speak to you further.
Absolutely, I'll do it. I've been following your channel for about a year, and you're doing an amazing job. But just first time that I reached out to you, so it's great to I haven't had the opportunity to talk to you. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, my friend. Thanks for calling in. Have a good night.
All right, you too. Have a good night. Bye.
Yeah, man, that's real talk, man. It's always good to, and it's good to hear from people who actually have family, friends there that could clarify and to clean up some stories that we hear over here. So the video he's referring to, it's from a project that's currently there now, and I posted on the RTD blog. And so the gentleman was mentioning how he was at a little kiosk, and they had all types of soap and toothpaste, and he was basically pointing out that the aid was not needed according to the people he was talking to there. So it's one of the things where, once again, I'm sure there's different stories we can all pull out of there. But, my job is to share with you what I come across that could be informative and educational for you guys. So, hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, it's Bold Like a Leopard from...
Bold Like a Leopard. How you doing, my friend?
I can hear myself.
Yeah. Let me see here. Probably, did you mute your computer or phone, or are you on your phone? Or you're on your phone, of course, but were you watching on your phone?
I have to step away from the PC.
Okay, appreciate it. Are you on your phone?
It is on mute, but for some reason I can still hear myself.
I apologize, but I can hear you fine on this side with no echo. So go ahead. What's on your mind, my friend?
Yeah, I wanted to say that you're one of the few other YouTube creators I see that is consistently against intervention, but still criticizes the Maduro system. And I think it's great that you come from it from a currency angle, and I've been analyzing it on my YouTube channel more from the standpoint of the mining companies and the concessions that Maduro has screwed up. Because if he would have kind of broken with Chavez's policy of just breaking contracts with these companies like Crystal X, that he wouldn't be getting sued consistently. And then basically what's happened is that the entire system of Venezuela is dependent on mineral resources now. So all of the manufacturing and industry over there has kind of completely shut down because they've reclaimed factories. And then you actually have people working as human slaves down in the Arco Minero, which is like deeper into the hinterland of Venezuela, further from the capital.
Yeah.
So I've actually seen reports, and I'd admit I'm not as close to the action as maybe your previous caller, but there are indigenous people that are trying to get the aid from the Brazilian side of the border, and they're the ones who are being the targets of some of this harassment by the police and some of the colectivos.
Interesting. Yeah, and that's the thing, like, as far as, I don't doubt that there's all types of stories. There's people who could use aid, there's people who's taking advantage of the aid, and there's people who don't need aid. And so there's stories coming from every angle. But yet, I would imagine that because of the currency situation there, everybody there wouldn't mind getting their hands on some aid of some kind. If it's true, genuine food, water, shelter, whatever is coming in those boxes, then I would imagine everybody would want some, because I would imagine the cost of going to the store, if you can find it or whatever, is going to be more than you probably can afford for that month, given the fact they only get paid once a month there. But I would imagine the aid is needed. So whether or not, the indigenous people or people in the city or people in that little kiosk that we were talking about earlier, I would, people need assistance there because the currency is not worth anything. So that alone lets me know that there's aid that should be given to those people. But here's the thing I question. We got all those trucks coming in, but yet is it just food and water and medicine and things of actual for the body, or is it stuff to cause more problems? Are there guns and bombs and stuff tucked in those box cases? Is what I would question. So from Maduro's standpoint of not wanting to let that stuff in, it's probably because it's going to go to some people and have some things in it that's not going to be for the people. So that's where it's like, who knows what's in those boxes unless you're actually there and you open those boxes up directly for yourself, I would imagine.
Yeah, I can understand that, but the problem is that when you see people lifting those boxes off in the videos, they seem very light for any sort of small arms even.
Yeah.
And let's assume that it was small arms. Why wouldn't the government just confiscate it and use it? They could probably sell it to other countries too. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to burn the convoys or anything.
Yeah.
And if they are medicines that are coming into the country, it's just a blatant abuse of human rights, because the Venezuelan hospitals are just notorious now for being like completely unfunctional.
Yeah, I agree. And so that's the thing. So another thing, when I saw those 18-wheelers with the one with on fire, first thought came to mind was if those boxes really contain food and medicine and whatever, that is a waste of U.S. taxpayer dollars. If those are U.S. provided humanitarian aid packages. So I'm thinking about whoever set that on fire. Why would you do that? Why not just work? I mean, why not just steal it? Why would you just Why would you just vandalize a truck as opposed to burn a truck? I mean, if
it would make more sense to steal it, yeah.
I mean, just like because even if you lack or you have enough, if you got your face covered up, willing to burn a truck. Like these people above me right now, these people out here stealing and rioting. They up to no good. Like, why would you not just take the stuff off the truck? The truck shouldn't even make it to Venezuela because Colombians, I'm sure, could use that stuff. So that's where I question all this stuff I see, man. So I'm thinking perhaps the truck was empty with boxes and it was set on fire in purpose of making it look like Maduro's people, are there against the American aid, so they burned it so that people couldn't get it. So that was my second thought. So, but I got a variety of thoughts though. But hey, I appreciate your call in, my friend. Thank you, Bo. I appreciate that.
All right, thanks for taking it.
Yeah,
keep up the good work.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one. Yeah, man, that's the thing. Like, in regards to you see a truck burning, I have so many thoughts of like, was it really stuff there? Was it not? Who did it? Why would you do it? Why wouldn't you just take it? Worst case scenario, so you at least have something. Why not? Why let that good stuff go to burn? And then you got taxpayer dollars being wasted. Yeah, man, that's what it is, man. But as always, people, I just want to get on tonight to to let you know what's going on and share with you my thoughts. But to wrap this all up, I wanted to mention what I believe could be possibilities for this week, given all the events that happened this weekend. And so, as we see, Maduro is closing himself in because he's cutting off ties with Colombia, the border, Brazil border. So he's isolated now, man. So apart from some help coming from out east, he doesn't have many allies that surround him to be of support to him. So I'd imagine pretty soon this week coming up, we'll wait and see. But here's my thoughts that Colombia is going to have troops on the border. I saw an article about, Maduro sending troops to the border. So that means there's probably some stuff there. And so they're not going to be there just to, prevent aid from coming in. They're going to be there now because they're about to start fighting pretty soon. I believe that, they're going to have some Colombian people come try to start trouble. They're going to accidentally shoot and kill a Colombian citizen. God forbid they do. And then the Colombian going to declare war on Maduro because he shot and killed an innocent Colombian child or something like that. I mean, that's the thing. It could be so crazy. And then I actually saw a gentleman in the little Venezuela thread on Twitter mention that don't be surprised if there's a false flag in the form of Maduro dropped some chlorine bombs at the Colombian border to kill some Colombians with chlorine gas that came from Iraq or came from Syria. So watch, Maduro gonna get his hands on some chemical weapons. He's gonna bomb his own people pretty soon or something like that. That's what we're gonna hear. That's just how crazy these things go. I'm not predicting or whatever. I'm just sharing with you things that come to my mind of what we could hear out here. And then that's going to be more, more fuel for the fire to say that we have to go now. We got to remove him now. He's gassing his own people. Yeah, man. But that's what it is, man. That's what it is. But what? Anyway, so, just want to check in this evening, get your guys' thoughts on this whole Venezuela situation. This week, be on the lookout for some type of false flag or some outright gunfire and bullets flying in war from Brazil or Colombia initially, and the U.S. will back Brazil or Colombia to press into Maduro, and we'll see what happens with that. So with that being the case, man, it's been great having you guys join me this evening. Tomorrow night, I have a gentleman joining me, Mr. Mark Ward. I'll actually pull up so you guys can see, and we do have a call. So I'm going to take this call. Here, and then we're going to call it in for this evening because I wasn't intending on being on this long. But as always, when you have good callers calling in, you got to show up some love. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Pat from Alabama.
Pat from Alabama, right on time. Pat, how you doing this evening, my friend?
I'm doing just fine.
That's good. What's on your mind?
Well, I keep hearing about Venezuela and how everybody's against Maduro. He's starving his people. People want to uprise against him. What's wrong with letting Colombia go in there and kick some butt?
Nothing's wrong with that if it was a legitimate fight amongst two bordering countries for their own internal problems and it was not influenced by the Northerners. If it was strictly a Latin American issue,
got a problem.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they. I don't know what they are in detail, unless you happen to know. But I don't doubt they got conflicts.
Happen to know.
Share it with us, Pat. Go ahead.
It's refugees coming across that border.
Yeah.
And that's why Colombia is upset.
Yeah.
And not to mention, we got Brazil.
Yeah. Everybody, yeah, all the Venezuelans
So what
fleeing.
does it matter whether it's Colombia, Brazil, USA?
Yeah.
Those people got to have some relief.
Yeah. And if that's a argument or stance that the president of Colombia, or president of Venezuela, Brazil want to have with Maduro, go at it. That's something that needs to be addressed. But it's between those countries and not us initially. But what will happen is, I believe we are pressuring Colombia, we're pressuring Brazil, and squeezing them because, mind you, both Colombia and Brazil's presidents are new, and they're I don't know. I know Brazil is more of a right-wing guy, and I think he has a lot of ties with the U.S., so he's a bought and paid for a gentleman. And I'd imagine Colombia is the same. I don't know. But if you have two bought and paid for presidents surrounding Maduro, when they get a call from anybody up in this area, say, hey, I need you to send some troops to the border and press in a little bit more this week. Can you do that for me? They're going to say yes. So anyway, we're going to have influence.
Let me tell you a story
about
Afghanistan.
Go ahead.
I'm with some other knuckleheads that do the same job I did. They worked for Department of Defense as civilians. And we decided that warlords were a good thing as long as it was my warlord.
Yeah.
and so do you see, taking care of Venezuela is the same issue. And you're talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
If a country you favored, Cuba, went in there, straightened them out, you'd be hollering, hoo-ha.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what can I say? Something's got to be done about that sucker.
Yeah, something has to be done. It's unfortunate that, the end result of what will be done will not allow him to probably leave that country on his own 2 feet, if that was something he wanted to do.
Well, there has to be a catalyst.
Yeah, man. It's unfortunate, man. It's usually going to be death and destruction, as it always has been. But, hey, Pat, man, I appreciate you, man.
Remember,
yeah, go ahead.
My warlord is a good warlord.
Yeah, my warlord says, the battle's not mine, they're his, and I'm told to not do anything but turn the other cheek and believe in certain circumstances, of course, but, that's my warlord, a.k.a. the Lord. But, hey, Pat, man.
And I'll give you one more thing.
Go ahead.
Stephen Decatur said, my country, right or wrong, my country.
My country
makes a lot of sense if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, despite all the stuff we're involved in and tangled up in, this country is still the best country in the world to live in and be in at this present moment. So I am still for my country. It's just I don't like how things are done on my behalf. And so when they say we're doing this for the American people, I'm not in favor of them going into Venezuela. So don't say you're doing it for me and in my best interest, because what does my best interest have to do with Venezuela? But other than our national currency,
it's the company's best interest.
Yeah, but also I ain't gonna say that. But I was gonna say because of national reserve, because of reserve currency status still, because Maduro did remove the dollar out of all exchanges there. So when he did that, he basically signed off on being invaded. So he did it at his own demise, I guess. But if he would have did that, perhaps he probably would still be, you know, a president without all this other opposition. But who knows? So we'll never know. But definitely this week there are going to be some moves down there, I believe.
Oh, I think you're right. But like whatever the catalyst is, it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it will be. It will be what it is.
Something needs to be done.
Yeah. Hey, man, I agree. But, Pat, man, I appreciate you calling tomorrow night.
Fun.
Make sure you tune in tomorrow night. I have Mark Ward talking about silver and putting silver back in operation. So he got a pretty good project that you guys are going to hear about, I believe. So tomorrow night, 9:30, be back here and join us, my friend.
You said the magic word, silver.
Oh, yeah, he's a silver guy.
Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
You too. Bye.
All right, people. That's what it is. We are done for this evening. Actually got almost a full hour in, so I wasn't intending on being this long. But as always, when the conversation is good and you guys are calling in and interacting, we are definitely going to we'll give you a chance to let your voice be heard. So as always, all this information here down below, got some resources. More importantly, I'm very pleased with the amount of response that people have had towards getting their weight up. And so as you guys can see here, I got me some silver not some silver, some gold right here. So definitely get my weights up in increments of 1 gram. So definitely if you guys are interested, the gold team is beneath us. We'd love to work with you directly as well as help you get your weight up. And what I'm going to do is, for those that are still watching, for those that are actually on the gold team, I'm going to have some group live streams. So I'm going to invite, I've been playing around with some stuff behind the scenes, but everybody that's on the gold team, I'm going to invite them on the show. We're going to have a big gold team discussion on how we can better put metals in people's hands and inform people. So I'm anticipating having a group of 10 or 15 people online for the first time. So I'm excited about that. So for those that want to be on the live stream, you have to be on the team in order to do so. So link down below, RTD Gold Team. You guys can get signed up from there. Get some weight in your hands, and then we can talk a little further about how to get you on YouTube. And if you have a YouTube channel, I definitely want to promote you, help you get your word out there to help more people get involved and take advantage of getting gold in their possession. So with that being the case, as always, if you've enjoyed the conversation, don't be afraid to give it a thumbs up. Share this video if you like. And other than that, tomorrow night, 9:30 p.m., Mark Ward from King Dollar Money will be joining us, and he has a great project going on that I'm looking into myself. So looking forward to bringing them to you guys tomorrow night. But other than that, be safe, be blessed. Have a good evening. Peace.